Hey everybody, it's Meredith. So I am here with our Microsoft Flight Simulator setup, and I'm trying to make a quick video this morning. Got a really busy day today, hoping to get this thing up and running ASAP for our customers. So I'm going to give you a brief overview of how this setup works. I'm just going to walk you through a setup and let's see how it goes. So as you can see, I've got a little mouse and keyboard here that you guys are going to use when you are launching the program. So first thing you want to do is spawn yourself, and I've gotten to using that word lately. My daughter plays Minecraft and they spawn each other in various worlds. So in Microsoft Flight Sim you can spawn or launch yourself from basically anywhere in the world. Now here at Craig, that gives you some specific options, like are you going to take off on runway 32, 23? There's various FBO options, but I want to be able to put myself in the exact spot with the engine started because I don't want customers to have to go through engine start procedures on Microsoft Flight Sim. That's not what the purpose of this is. So let me show you how this is done. So first thing you want to do is launch a browser and open up Google Maps. And you can see here I've got Craig Airport shown on the satellite view. So now if I go over here, you can see our ramp. This is the Jet Center, here's Holiday Aviation. And normally what happens is when we start our airplanes over here, we will taxi out to this spot right here, and that's where we call ground. So that's where I want to begin the simulation. So I'm gonna tap my mouse right there, and you can see that Google Maps will bring up a latitude and longitude. I'm gonna go ahead and copy that, Control C, and then open up my Microsoft Flight Sim. There's my airplane. And if I click this little departure box and Control V to paste the location and then select it, you can see now it says custom. And I can select, do I want to be in the air at that spot, on the ground, shut down, wanting to start the engine, which I don't. I want to be on the ground ready for takeoff, or ready to taxi in this case. So I'm going to select that. It's going to automatically upload my current weather conditions, which today is winds out of the northwest, clear skies, and pretty gusty. So that's what we're expecting today. And I'm just going to click Start Flight. So now the game is going to load. And you can see there I am sitting on the ramp at the Jet Center. Now I'm going to leave this video on screen running, and I'm going to overlay with in-game audio and video so you'll be able to see what's going on. Now I'm going to put on the headset and let the game begin. So if I click on the top of the screen, you can see the little EFB symbol. So this brings up a little like iPad, and I'm going to click on route. And now that I'm in my specific spot on the ramp where I want to be, I can put in my departure airport, which is Craig Airport, which was already there because I started the game already. And if I click on the little information symbol and click the tab for frequencies, it brings up all the frequencies for Craig. Now, I've preloaded most of them, so I've got Craig ATIS set in COM 2, and in COM 1, I've got Craig Tower, but then there's some other random frequency right now in the standby. So I'm going to switch Craig Tower to the standby, and I'm going to preload Craig Ground into the active by clicking this button that says Set. So now I'm monitoring Craig Ground in the game, and I can go back to here to the map. We'll close that for a minute. And now I can listen to the ATIS, which is in COM 2, just like I would in any plane by hitting the COM 2 receiver button. The other thing you want to do is launch the SayIntentions app. So down here on the bottom, you can see the little headphone symbol, and that will launch SayIntentions. Now I did this a few minutes ago, so it had a chance to preload lots of traffic. And if you click on the, or you hover over the little green airplane symbol there in the corner, you can see that there's 3 airplanes in the sky right now and 13 parked on the ramp with me here at Craig. So I'm going to close that, and now we're going to listen to the ATIS.
Jacksonville Executive at Craig Airport, Information Whiskey 1353 Zulu. Arriving and departing runways 3223. Wind 320 at 19er gusting 2A. Visibility 10.
It's pretty windy today.
Sky conditions, clear. Temperature 5. Dew point -7. Altimeter 3020. Density altitude -1400 feet. Advise on initial contact. You have Information Whiskey.
Okay, Information Whiskey. So now what I need to do is call up my virtual Craig ground here and request taxi. Now I'm just going to request a VFR departure to the south, so we'll see what they say. So on the stick, on the back of it, there's a little trigger. That's the push to talk. And I've got some other labels here for things like trim and flaps. Craig ground, Cessna 65842 at the Jet Center with Information Whiskey, ready to taxi for VFR departure to the south.
Skyhawk 65842, Craig ground, runway 32, taxi via Alpha 2, Alpha Charlie.
Alpha 2, Alpha Charlie to runway 32, 65842. Okay, so I've responded. Now I'm going to deselect the parking brake, which is right here. And now I should be able to taxi. Taxiing is a little funny, but it works pretty well once you get the hang of it. When it's windy outside in the game, the plane will bounce around a lot. So I apologize if this looks kind of funky. Now, one thing we haven't figured out how to mitigate yet is the issue of random cars driving down the taxiway. Now, it won't crash into me. It'll just sort of drive right through me, which is really, really strange. Obviously, that wouldn't happen in real life. Okay. You just keep going. I'm working with the development team to see if they can tell me how to turn that off. But you can see it looks pretty much like Craig, except for the fact that the control tower is humongous, as if we're at O'Hare or something. But the ramps look pretty much the same. And in the game, though, the taxiway markings are not accurate. They're actually not even there at all. But if you know your airport and you've got an airport diagram in front of you, let's say from 4Flight, it's just fine. So, ground objects are not super realistic, but close enough. So we're gonna scoot down to the runway here. And we've got rudder pedals attached, which work just like they do in the real airplane. Now in just a sec here, the virtual controller is going to tell me to contact tower. And I'm going to skip the run-up.
Skyhawk 842, contact tower on 132.1.
Over to tower 65842. Now, in real life, obviously we want to do a run-up, but we're just practicing ATC here. Okay, the other thing that's a little strange in Microsoft Flight Sim, and I'm going to stop here a little shorter than I normally would, just so I can show you. the runway labels are incorrect. So on that side, it correctly says that that's runway 23, but there's a sign over here that says runway 23, which is not correct. So that's a game error in Microsoft Flight Sim, and there's really not a whole lot I can do about that. But again, just remember, this is virtual, this is not reality. Do your best to play along, and I think you can get a lot of value out of it. So now I'm going to switch using my mouse over to tower, and let's call tower. Craig Tower, Skyhawk 65842, holding short runway 32, ready for departure.
Skyhawk 65842, Craig Tower, runway 32, winds 320 at 19er, gusting 28, cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 32, 65842. So that exchange was fairly standard. Now, I haven't heard or seen any other traffic yet, but in previous iterations of playing the game with SayIntentions, I have seen some other traffic you'll see in the video. Let's see if we encounter any on our way out. But the visuals are pretty realistic. Oh, it defaults to starting with 10 degrees of flap, so if you don't want that, you can put them up. Okay, let's go. You can use the little hat switch on the stick to look left and right. So flick it to the right to look out your right window.
Experimental 575, holding short of 23, ready for takeoff. Experimental 575, winds calm, runway 23, cleared for takeoff. Takeoff 23, experimental 575.
Now that's interesting. He just said winds are calm, even though the virtual ATIS, which matches reality, indicated really strong, gusty northwest winds. So again, this is something I'm still trying to work out with the development team. But let's go ahead and turn south, and let's see if we see this experimental aircraft who is just cleared for takeoff off runway 23. Look out the left window at the airport. So I've got trim nose up and nose down on the throttle, which isn't where you would expect it in the airplane, but it was the best place to put it here on the sim. So I don't see that airplane out the window, but if I pull up the EFB and zoom, see, there's that guy who just took off on runway 23.
Experimental 575, contact departure. Good day. Experimental 575.
I'm going to turn around real quick and see if I can see him.
November 30 Lima X-ray, holding short of 23, ready to go. November 30 Lima X-ray, winds 330 at 17, runway 23, cleared for takeoff. 23, cleared for takeoff, November 30 Lima X-ray.
And notice how I just turned back toward the traffic pattern in a descent and the virtual controller said nothing to me.
Kilo, contact departure.
Departure for Grumman 2 Whiskey Kilo. Good day.
And now I'm basically going head on at some... Oh, there he is! Now, you would get absolutely yelled at big time by Craig Tower if you did this in real life. And rightfully so. I just turned into oncoming traffic. So clearly there are limitations to virtual ATC and to flight simulation. But what I am hoping that our customers will get out of this is the process. Oh, there's that airplane. Pretty wild. What I'm hoping that our customers will get out of this is the ability to go through the motions, go through the process in a somewhat realistic fashion. So here's a quick review of how you can spawn or launch yourself in a random location. If you go to Google Maps, you can choose the exact location that you want. So initially we departed from the Jet Center right there. But let's say that you didn't want to bother taxiing, you just wanted to start at the run-up pad. You could go over here, find it on the map. There's Taxiway Charlie, the run-up area, and you could just choose that latitude and longitude instead. It's really important to remember that AI air traffic control is just as imperfect as the humans that created it. And in this next clip here, you'll see a mistake that the AI software made and what my response to it was. Check this out. Craig Ground, Skyhawk 65842 at the Jet Center. Information mic, ready to taxi, closed traffic.
Skyhawk 65842, Craig Ground, runway 32, left closed traffic approved. Report midfield each time. Taxi via Alpha 2, Alpha Charlie.
Alpha 2, Alpha Charlie, runway 32, 65842.
Skyhawk 842, runway 32, taxi via Alpha 2, Alpha Charlie. Left closed traffic approved. Report midfield each time.
Alpha 2, Alpha Charlie, 32, 65842, and we'll get specific right or left traffic instructions from the tower, correct?
Skyhawk 842, left traffic only. Tower will confirm.
65842. Alright, so clearly that's not something that would happen in real life, but a good learning experience to always clarify with the controller if they tell you something that doesn't seem correct.
Husky Tree Lima Lima, ready to taxi.
Husky Tree Lima Lima, runway 23, taxi via Alpha 5, Alpha Charlie.
Runway 23, taxi via Alpha 5, Alpha Charlie, Husky Tree Lima Lima.
So all this traffic you see is being generated by SayIntentions, not by Microsoft Flight Sim. So you can see there's another aircraft taxiing out in front of us. Let's see if we stop here. Tower says anything. There's also random cars. I haven't figured out how to fix that yet. That Husky looks like it has a flat tire.
Skyhawk 842, contact tower on 132.1.
Over to tower 65842. Alright, so we'll swap over to tower and sit here behind this Husky. Craig Tower, Skyhawk 65842, holding short of 32, ready for departure.
Skyhawk 65842, Craig Tower, left close, traffic approved. Report midfield each time, winds 310 at 16, gusting 30, runway 32, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff 32, make left traffic, report midfield 65842. Pretty sporty of that Husky taking off with a 30-knot crosswind. Not reality. Alright, you can see this airplane taxiing out from the jet center. Let's try calling ground again. Craig Ground, Skyhawk 65842 at the jet center, ready to taxi, staying in the pattern, information Sierra.
Skyhawk 842, runway 32, taxi via Alpha 2, Alpha Alpha 5 Alpha, left close traffic, hold short of 32.
Was that Alpha 2, Alpha Alpha 5, hold short 32 for 65842? Craig Ground, Cessna 65842, unable, Alpha 5 departure, request full length, runway 32. There's the random van.
Skyhawk 842, runway 32, taxi via Alpha 2, Alpha Alpha, hold short of 32.
Alpha 2, Alpha, hold short of 32, 65842. Alright, that was a little better, except Alpha doesn't go all the way to 32, but whatever. So let's go. So the game is not perfect, but I think what it forces students to do is really pay attention to what the controller is saying, because even real live human controllers make mistakes sometimes. Now, the guys up in Craig Tower don't mess up nearly as bad as this AI controller appears to be doing, but nonetheless, it's a good practice.
November 722 uniform, runway 23, taxi via Alpha 3, Alpha Charlie.
Runway 23 taxi via Alpha 3 Alpha Charlie, November 722 uniform.
November 70 Victor Mike, ready to taxi. November 70 Victor Mike, runway 23 taxi via Alpha 4 Alpha Charlie. Runway 23 taxi via Alpha 4 Alpha Charlie, November 70 Victor Mike.
Now, one thing that's interesting is that the traffic that shows up in the EFB does not appear to show up on the MFD in the airplane.
November 48335, runway 23 taxi via Alpha 5 Alpha Charlie.
Runway 23 taxi via Alpha 5 Alpha Charlie, November 48335.
Let's see if this airplane behind me is going to run me over. Oh look, there they are. Interesting. Okay, I guess I ought to be nice and call tower. Craig Tower, Cessna 65842, holding short runway 32, ready for takeoff, would like to remain in the traffic pattern.
Skyhawk 65842, Craig Tower, runway 32, cleared for takeoff. Make left traffic.
Clear for takeoff 32, make left traffic, 65842. Now, here at Craig, in reality, they usually will have you make right traffic, but they could say left traffic. They'll also ask you to report midfield, which this guy did not do. But I think it just teaches students situational awareness. Even if stuff in the game is kind of goofy and doesn't match reality. Okay, we'll clear left, turn left. We'll level off at pattern altitude. Craig Tower, Skyhawk 65842, midfield left downwind 32 for touch and go.
Skyhawk 842, runway 32, clear touch and go. Left traffic.
Clear for touch and go 32, 65842. Okay. I think. Say again for 842.
Skyhawk 842, runway 32, cleared for the option.
Cleared for the option 32, 65842. Oopsie. Fly the airplane. You don't have great peripheral vision in Flight Sim, and if you look out your window, it can be kind of hard to maintain your look straight ahead, but once you get the hang of it, it's actually not that bad. Definitely does not replace real flying, but I think for lots of things it can be very useful. Alright, let's give this a go. Oh look, there's some other airplanes down there. There's some guy holding short of 3-2. That sounded ugly, but okay. Get my flaps up. We'll go. Now, he told me to make left traffic, but I'm going to be dumb and I'm going to make right traffic. I want to see if he calls me out on it. I'm also going to turn a little early. So let's see if the virtual controller says anything.
November 4833, 5 short of 23, ready for departure.
November 48335, winds calm, runway 23, cleared for takeoff.
23 cleared for takeoff, November 48335.
Craig Tower, Cessna 65842 on the right downwind for 32.
Skyhawk 842, left traffic only, enter left downwind for 32.
Sorry, I made a mistake. I'm on the right downwind. Can you just clear me to land? I don't know how to make left traffic from here.
Skyhawk 842, winds 330 at 17, runway 23, cleared to land.
That's too much of a crosswind. I need to land on runway 32. 842, over. I'm messing with it right now.
Skyhawk 842, winds 330 at 17, runway 32, cleared to land.
Thank you so much. Clear to land 32, 65842. Now, again, I don't think that is a real exchange that would happen with a real controller, but again, it teaches the student that you have to just talk and ask for what you want, because sometimes the controller might tell you something that isn't going to work for you. That was a little better. See, that sign is wrong. It says Bravo is to my left. This is Alpha. And the windsock isn't actually there, but it's blowing the correct direction. Craig ground, Skyhawk 65842, off runway 32, holding short of Alpha, request taxi to the Jet Center. There's the random van.
Skyhawk 842, taxi to Jack's executive jet via Alpha 5, Alpha Alpha 3. Good day.
That was right. Alpha 5, Alpha Alpha 3 to the Jet Center, 65842. More random traffic on the taxiway. Okay. Anyway, that should give you guys a good idea of what you can expect if you use this program. Have fun!